Okay, well, we'll go ahead and get started. We've got majority of people, I believe, on the call already. So thank you all for being here. I know this has been something we've had in development for some time and working with a small group um, to add some enhancements and make sure that it met the requirements needed for a referral system. So we're at the point where we're introducing this to a small group of partners. So this is our pilot kickoff and kind of what the look ahead looks like on the timeline. So we're going to go over a little bit of a background and what you guys can expect, what expectations look like from this pilot, and how we'll use feedback to continue to enhance the system and help us develop the best plan for a rollout of this to all partners. So, I do want to take a moment to acknowledge, I know we have about 70 or so people on the call. About half of you are the ones that are going to be participating in the pilot, actually sending referrals, receiving referrals. So this kickoff is largely meant for you, but a lot of other individuals were invited to get a sneak peek of, what the pilot entails, what the system looks like. So I know some people are going to be seeing this for the first time and haven't necessarily been involved in our small work group. So definitely open for some questions at the end, but just know that this is largely geared towards those partners that have been selected to do a small sample of piloting. So, that being said, you can definitely throw questions in the chat as we move through the presentation. If it's something that I can address that makes sense to address at the time, I will address it as I go along. But otherwise, we can kind of hold questions towards the end. But super excited for everyone to be here today and see the new referral system that we have been developing. Okay, so to give you an idea of our agenda today, we're going to start with the purpose of this pilot, intentions, objectives. Then we'll look at the project timeline and chat a little bit about the pilot execution. And there'll be a couple action items that we'll be able to take today to make sure we're ready to um, kick the pilot off early next week. So we're going to ask now that you all we'll be updating your sites in the Service Finder, which my colleague Natasha is going to do a demo of the system so that you guys kind of have an overview training today. But we'll also be covering a lot of resources as well. We will also be doing some weekly office hours, and you'll get a registration link for those. So, partners, as you start using the system, we definitely want you to feel free to come to those office hours and kind of either work with us on, sending a referral if you feel better with us walking you through it. Otherwise, we have some pretty well developed guides as well that we're going to cover on this call from a resource perspective. And then we'll talk a little bit about the pilot duration. So right now that's scheduled for, early next week, January 20th, and it's going to run for 4 weeks because we understand, if we pilot it too long, you know, doesn't allow some specific feedback. So wanted to make sure we did a pretty short pilot for you guys, but still allowed several weeks for you to go about normal business of sending referrals. Okay, so our approach to this pilot has been to support the launch of the new IWDS 2.0 statewide referral system. So this is going to be designed to be integrated in with the IWDS 2.0 launch as well, but it's also a standalone system for those that don't use IWDS. So those partners that refer to IWDS and those of you that use it to be able to refer to partners outside. Yes, I can send these slides out after with the recap. And the idea too, we're gonna be improving customer experiences and streamlining referrals between core and partner programs under WIOA. The scope that we've used has been focusing on testing and validating how this referral system supports your cross-agency referrals, communication, and the customer experience. So it includes our pilot organizations include a wide variety of WIOA titles 1 through 4 and partner agencies that are going to be sending and receiving referrals on a small scale during this pilot. and it's going to be occurring on select LWIAs that have been in the work group since the beginning when we started really testing the system in September. And overall, our intention and objective of this is we're putting this referral system pilot. It's designed to test the system functionality in a real life scenario, validate our integrations across agencies, but also identify areas where we might have process improvements needed. We've looked at this from a development lens and also worked with people to help develop what makes sense. But once you get a system into your hands, we always, find areas where maybe there's some in process improvements or things that we can add to the system to help with, day-to-day business. So success is going to be measured by system reliability, user experience, and data accuracy. And we're going to talk about a couple ways that we're going to collect information on the user experience from you all during this pilot. Okay, so next steps. Today's our pilot kickoff call. It's really designed to introduce and set expectations for all of you to understand, what the system looks like, but also what we're looking for from you as you're testing. So the duration is going to be 4 weeks. It will officially start on January 20th, next week, next Tuesday. The idea being between now and then, you all are getting into the service finder to make sure that your sites are appropriately set up to flow into the referral system. So Natasha will talk about that in a little bit more detail as we demo the system, but there's that connection piece there that is going to allow the referrals to go to the right person in conjunction with the service finder. Some feedback resources that we're going to be utilizing during this time are those weekly office hours. So that's going to allow us, if you register for those and attend, to have kind of that one-on-one experience to ask questions or walk through things with you all. So pretty casual, but we want to make sure we're there to support on a weekly basis. We will also have an Excel feedback template, knowing that you'll be able to add some information to that each time you go to send a referral. And then as the pilot gets closer to conclusion, we'll have a pilot experience survey to really kind of understand where it landed for you guys in terms of usability. Would you recommend it? Any other comments or overall experience that we would like to gather, which will be integral into, rolling this out on a larger scale when the time comes. On the right just gives you a overview of kind of how we got here. So prior to December, we were really in the user acceptance testing phase. So we were looking at what we currently had. All of our users were going through and testing those parts, providing additional process information, things that we maybe hadn't considered in original development, and getting those added in. And then throughout December, your work group individuals that reached out to you to participate in this have been very busy, trying to find the right partners and giving us, different items that need to be in the system. And they've worked really hard to identify those of you that are helping us test this pilot. So thank you so much. And then we really started our working on this piece right now of kickoff and training. So we're going to be kicking off today and going through an overview training, but those trainings will also be conducted via those office hours if you're needing some additional hands-on training. Our pilot's going to execute in weeks 4 through 9. So that's that January, February timeframe. And lastly, we'll kind of wrap up with an evaluation and feedback and evaluation. So once we've collected all the feedback from everybody, we'll get that analyzed, document findings, and present that back to you all. And that's going to be very big in us determining what the best rollout options are, or if we've identified anything that needs some immediate attention from a development standpoint. So anything that looks also like for future iterations of product feedback will also be considered as well. So I can pause for a moment to take like a question or two if you have any questions on this. Otherwise, we can keep moving. Okay. So
Excuse me, there's a question in the chat.
Oh, there is. Okay, thank you. Are the referrals being sent with test referrals among piloting partners or real clients? These are being sent among piloting partners. Great question. So those, for example, Joel sent me some people from his LWIA that he is having participate in the pilot, and they will be participating and sending each other referrals during this time. Great question, because we want to ensure those people that receive a referral, right, are aware this is happening. So that's why this pilot is on a smaller scale at the moment among those selected partners. Okay, so one thing we are going to go through next here is a review.
Excuse me. I think the question in there was, will the referrals actually be real people, or are they going to be just sort of test subjects that are in the testing environment?
Oh, yeah, no, these are going to be real people because this is production. So we also want to make sure that from a real customer standpoint, we want to use real customers because we're also evaluating the customer experience in this aspect as well. Thank you, Joel. I didn't catch that.
Thanks for hi, this is Mandeep. I submitted the question in the chat, so thanks for clarifying. I'm sorry. But okay, so if it's with the with real clients, how can we also include the adult ed community or partners because to provide test feedback since otherwise it seems they would not be allowed to participate based on um like their security and everything, kind of like the regulations they need to follow within
Mhm.
the colleges itself.
Um, that's a good question, Mandeep. What we can probably do is I'll have to look at our specific participation. I know we have quite a few adult ed partners in the pilot, but maybe we don't have like the specific Harper College that you mentioned. So maybe that is one that we need to look at if there's someone willing to like pilot this from Harper College that we could include.
Okay, I appreciate that, Kelly. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Mandeep, if you have somebody that's willing to participate, if you want to send that over to me, their contact information and everything, I can make sure that they get the appropriate information.
Will do. Thank you.
Yes,
Kelly,
thank
I
you.
just wanted to add here too. And so that's kind of what we want to work with you all with for this pilot. We don't expect you to send every single customer you get to every single provider you get, but we want to work with you all to establish a couple of scenarios and partners you'll be doing this pilot with. And then we can work with you and them to make sure they're set up in the system so that the pilot can be facilitated.
Yes, great point. Thank you, Olivia. Yep. So as we're starting to do this and as you start receiving even, customers or students in your offices where you're like, "Oh, you know what? In this case, I would be sending them to this specific partner." I don't think, or I'm not sure if they're in the referral, so maybe that's where you reach out to us and we can make sure we get them into the referral up to speed. And if we need to have into the pilot and up to speed, and if we need to have some like one-off sessions, we definitely can to make sure that we can get the appropriate feedback and participation that makes the most sense. So along with that, the next steps we have between now and next week, some of you may have used our service finder in the past. One thing that we'll need to do, which Natasha is going to walk us through, is you're going to need to log into the service finder and review your site that you currently have set up, because there's a few different things that have to happen for this to connect to our referral system. So one of them is ensuring that you have a primary contact set and tied to the referral system. That way, that person will receive the referral emails and the customers appropriately. And the next one being ensuring your organization is marked as accepting referrals and tied to the appropriate programs. That piece is huge for us to be able to, if there are organizations that need to cut off accepting referrals for a while, or maybe being able to, a big thing that came up with our UAT participants or our work group over the last couple months has been being able to report on co-enrollment. and the focus and importance of that. So that's why your sites need to be tied to programs, because that will allow us to engage and grow that co-enrollment reporting, which was flagged as such a huge piece of the puzzle that needs to improve. So those will be some things that we'll walk you through here in a second. And we'll also have a toolkit that we're sending out, or our partner guide, after this call, so that you guys have everything in one place. But biggest action needed here is we're going to log in and review your site in the Service Finder by Tuesday, January 20th. If you're having any issues with that on January 20th, we are going to do kind of like an off-schedule office hours. Office hours will be Mondays at 2 o'clock every week until the pilot concludes. But I understand next Monday is a holiday, so a lot of you may not be working. So we're going to shift that to Tuesday instead. If anyone has questions, those office hours will be sent out with a registration link here soon. So that is an action item coming out of this, and I will recap that in the email that goes out. Next piece we have here, so a little bit of an overview of our resources. So we do have a partner guide and training guides, which I'm going to show you here in a moment. That is going to link to you, like we have some tutorial videos, we have lists of our upcoming office hours. We also have training guides, like step-by-step guides that you'll be able to access as well. So you'll be able to have a lot of those different technical training pieces in addition to today's call. Those office hours are going to be weekly on Mondays at 2 p.m. during the pilot period, and then we're planning to have that one on January 20th after the holiday as well, especially with that being the day that you all need to make sure that your Service Finder sites look good. Once you go in and update those, our team over here at workNet will also be approving those sites as well. So making sure if there were any updates that they're appropriately approved to flow through. On our end, during the pilot running from January 20th to February 20th, we're going to be doing consistent monitoring of pilot participation with reporting and just making sure that we're engaging with you, asking what questions that you guys have. So you'll probably see a lot of communication from us, making sure that you feel comfortable, or if we need to set some, one-on-one meetings, we are absolutely happy to do that. That's, what this pilot is for. So we want to make sure if you feel the need to hop on outside of office hours or anything, do not hesitate to reach out and we can schedule something. Some other options we have here are we have a help desk link that, say you're having, something isn't working right or you have a question, you can utilize that link for the help desk, and that's going to also put our customer service teams on those as well to be able to troubleshoot things like that. So if you do have questions, you can also submit them there, or utilize our Illinois WorkNet team on those office hours, or if we need calls outside of that, just reach out. But overall, we're going to begin sending and receiving those referrals with each other as partners that are included in the pilot beginning January 20th. So as of right now, they are putting kind of the finishing touches on the system in production. They wanted to make sure that our teams had some testing that we can go through so that when you guys start on Tuesday next week, that everything's ready to go and you have your appropriate toolkit partner guide. I'm going to show that piece next so that you guys can see a little bit what that partner guide looks like. Okay, let me pull that piece up. Okay, can you guys see this Illinois WorkNet page here that says Referral System Partner Guide?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. So I will send out the link to this, but this breaks down for you. You probably have seen some similar ones of these in our system. So for example, maybe you've been on the CJA page, things like that. But it breaks it down for you in terms of links to the referral system. We've got technical assistance tutorials and videos, partner tool updates in the future. As we update the tool, we'll handle any releases, things like that. But down at the bottom, referral system guide is really what's going to break it down into the different instructions for you all. So, for example, we've got the setting up your referral site here. It's going to break it down a little bit into steps. but you also have more of like step-by-step guides down here as well. So when you click on these will open a document for you. For example, let me pull this puppy up. That breaks down some additional information for you on step by step. So I know some people really like to learn from like videos, and some are really great with kind of following step by step guides. So we've got both of those options for you. But this is going to break this down for you of, how am I going to add a site and primary contacts into the service finder, give you the appropriate links, sites, and those steps that you need to take. So this kind of walks you through each one. This is the longest guide because there's a lot of tabs here that you just have to look at from the service finder aspect for your site. But that is what will lead you to these for those resources. Outside of that, we've got a couple other videos being added here, but we have a YouTube video for a tutorial or walkthrough. So if you learn better by watching and following along, you've got that option as well. So it's got your YouTube video there. You can get that into a different browser. It looks like it started playing there, but you can pull that up on a larger scale. Okay, I think those were the main things I needed to cover from a kickoff standpoint. I can probably answer, I want to make sure that Natasha has time to go through the demo, so we'll probably roll into that so that she can showcase exactly what you'll be doing as part of this kickoff. So if there aren't any objections, I will have Natasha take over at this point.
All right. Want to make sure that you're able to see my screen that has Illinois WorkNet homepage.
Yes, we can see it.
Okay. All right. Good deal. All right. So the first thing that we need to do with the getting set up to use the referral system is to update or add your information into the service locator. So if this is new to you, I just want to show you where to go into production, and then we'll go over to our test site, and I can just walk through each of those tabs. So if for the sake of time, you don't have to watch me type the information into the system. So you go to illinoisworknet.com, and on the home page, this is one of the ways to get to this. If you scroll down under the guides and tools, there is a tile here for the service finder. So if you click onto the service finder, you'll see the service finder. And then you can add or edit locations. So if you click to add or edit location, you'll be prompted to, log in and then submit your site information. So with that, I'm going to move over here to our test site that I have up already. So the system will have you check to make sure that your location isn't already in the system, because we don't want to have, multiple entries for the same location. So it'll, have you check it. And if you don't see your location in the system, then you move forward to add in your site. When you do that, I'm going to go to one that's already here in my test site. And the first thing you'll do is you'll actually land on the referral tab. And as you continue to add these tabs, then the more tabs will appear. So with the referral system, it has some explanation of what it means to be an Illinois WorkNet partner in the Service Finder. You can just be Service Finder only, but what we're focusing on today is the Service Finder plus the referral system. So it has bullet points for expectations, and you can identify the locations here, the descriptions for either work support, referral site or Illinois workNet partner is listed here. So you can select one of those options. You save and continue. It's going to ask you if your location is Title I funded. If you say yes or no, then you move on to the next tab, which is the physical location. And there are some, the required fields are marked. There's info bubbles for some additional information as it relates to entering the information into each of these fields. You can put your hours of operation, logo, additional information in there. We're going to go ahead and to the next tab is the contacts tab, and this is really important. For each of your locations, or for your location, you need to have a service finder primary contact. You can have a secondary contact as well. And if you're accepting referrals, you'll need to have a referral system, primary contact, or you can have secondary contacts as well. The descriptions are here for this, each location must have at least one service finder primary contact, and it gives you a description of what that role means. And the same goes with the referral system. When you add a person, if you go to add a contact, then you'll be prompted to search to see if the person's already in the system. And if they are not, then you enter the information into the system. And then you can enter them, it'll give you two options. When you enter them into the system, you're going to either select that if they're not a service finder contact or primary or secondary. You can have a person that is both a primary contact for both the service finder and the referral. The next area is the social media tab. It's optional. You can put that information in there if you would like. The next area, programs. This one is important because this is where we indicate if you're accepting referrals. So what you can do is select Add Program, and then you're going to select from the program name. And then for whichever program you enter, it's going to go ahead and populate the description, who it serves, the criteria, with the standard information that's in the referral guide, Illinois Workforce Referral System guide. And so you don't have to worry about entering in all that information. The system will populate that information for you. You indicate if the referrals are being accepted, if this program is actively participating in this program. You can select the different counties that are that can use this program, and then the funding source. So as you add those, you'll see the list grow on this page for the different sites that are programs that are offered at your location. And of course, you can hit the edit button to edit that.
Natasha, how do you select multiple counties?
Oh, good question. So you should be able to, if you hold down your button, like your shift button, it'll do a combination. If you hit control, it'll hit individual counties. So click it and then hold shift. It'll give you all those. Let me get off of there. Click it and hit control. It gives you the individuals. And then hit select and it'll put them over here. Okay, and then the next section is organization type and funding. Some of these are just kind of carryovers from the older version of the Service Finder, which will be updating it, over time with the updates from IWDS. But for this one, it is required. Just select the organization type, all the funding sources that apply, and then continue on to the next area. And the next tab is one that has been updated from our old service finder. And the updates are in production. And you can, select the customers, if there's programs that focus on any special populations, you can identify those as well. But the big one that we want to focus on for at least the referral system piece is adding services. So when you click to add services, you can open each of these and select, whichever services are offered through your organization, the location for your organization. And once you do that, you'll be able to see them on this list, and you can, remove it, edit it, add it later. You can make those updates. Now, why this is important is because in the service finder, these headings and each of these services are things that options that you'll select whenever you're going to send a referral. So whenever the referral is going out, the system's going to say, okay, this person needs food pantries and meal programs. What are all of the organizations that are listed in the service finder that offer the food pantries and meal programs? And that's how it's going to know, which areas you can send referrals to. Once you do that, then you can preview the information and submit the information. And then part of our Illinois WorkNet team at the state level, we will review the information. Our standard practice is reviewing the information and then verifying that it's a real organization and accurate. And then we will approve it, and we will also be able to add any of the partner accounts. You can have your staff also be part of this and have a partner account, and we can give them partner access. So with that, I'm going to go into one of our test sites. And so when you log in and you go to the referral system, and you'll be able to do that from the partner guide. Let me go here real quick. Let me find my Illinois WorkNet page. We'll go to partners. We don't have it set up in the guide yet because we want to make sure everybody gets their sites and everything all set up first. But this, when you go to the referral guide, you'll see there's a tile here for the referral system. You'll click that to access the referral system. When you go to the referral system, then you'll land on this customer page. Excuse me. And of course, yours will be blank, most likely, unless somebody's already sending you referrals. But to get started, what you can do is, you add a customer and enter their information. I'm just going to put test information in here. Oop. And then you identify the veteran status. We have info bubbles here. If somebody has any questions about what some of these items mean, you'll enter your zip code. And this one is it's used to help the system identify organizations that are closest to the individual. So you can put their zip code in there. You have this is optional information, is the customer's information. So you can include phone and address. You would select your organization. So if you happen to be associated with maybe 3 different locations, you pick the location that this person is being referred from. If this person is already in one of the programs offered by that location, you can select that program and add the customer. Now, at this point, what happens is the system checks to see if the person is already in the system. If they have an Illinois WorkNet account already, then the system will use that account. If not, it will create an account for them. So if the person already has their account in the system in Illinois WorkNet, then it's not going to tell you the password, but if that person doesn't know their password, you can click on reset password and reset it for them at that moment. If it's a new account, it's going to give you both of those. From this point, you can go directly into add a referral. It'll have your provider information here. And so for Leanne, I'm going to say that Leanne is going to have needs food pantry, maybe childcare, subsidies, daycare center, and we'll do that, financial and credit counseling. As you go through these, you'll notice that these headers are the same that was on in the service finder. And if you can just, it default opens to all of these. If you look at this and you're like, oh, Leanne needs everything in here, you can select the checkbox at the header and it'll select all these options that are in there. If you deselect it, because you're like, oops, that's not what I meant, deselect it, it unselects all of them. You can also see how many providers in the system are saying that they are offering that service or accepting referrals for those services. So we have 4 items selected. So those items that I selected are listed here. And I'm like, oh, I really meant just daycare centers. I didn't mean childcare subsidies. Let me just go ahead and remove that. There's the button here to remove it. Whenever you open up each of these, then you'll see that I must have picked one that didn't have anybody. So let me go ahead and remove that one. When I go to daycare centers, you'll see if they're within 5 miles, 5 to 10, 10 to 15, or more than 15. So I'm going to choose the one that's within 5 miles. And then with this one, let's just say, I'm just going to pick one that's further than 15 miles just for the example for today. And I hit save. And so whenever I do this, it's because I picked 2 different providers, it's going to create a tab up here for each of these different referrals. So if I had, 15 services and 3 providers, you would see, the 3 tabs up here. And then if I had, additional services selected for this one provider, they would be listed here. So it captures everything into one referral per provider that you're sending out. Along the top, you can see the timeline. Again, with each of these info bubbles, it tells you what the status means. And you have the referral information, and then you have consent. So a consent is required for a referral to be sent. So you select add the consent, and you can read this consent to the individual. And did the customer provide verbal consent? You can say yes or no. You'll say yes to send the referral. And then For the referral notes, you'll select the primary contact. This person has two options, so I'm going to pick this one. And you can put your notes here if you would like to include notes. Down here at the bottom, before I hit save and send, you'll see that we have the referral history down here, and then a consent history as well. So they have the option to decline as well. So at this point, I'm going to hit save and send. And then I can see the timeline has been updated, and I'm going to select the next referral. So I go through the same process. I can accept the consent, pick a contact, add notes if I wanted to, and save and send. Whoop. And then, so that's sending the referral. Now I have the other screen over here for the person who is receiving the referral. And I refreshed, I just hit the customer tab because this is where they would come in. And I can see the person I just added. And so I select that referral. Oh, when I go back real quick, I'm sorry. If I am looking for a specific customer, you can search by name. You can search by who the referrals are coming from, who they are going to, and you can also select by status. You can see my listing here is of customers that I've received referrals coming from because they're incoming. And each of these, you can see if there's one or more referral that for that individual, maybe that's come from referrals come from two different locations. This will tell you. We also have some notifications here so that if a person is like past 10 days, you know, being or not received, those notifications would come into that tab. We are going to be making some updates so that the notifications will be the default tab, so you can see them right away whenever you have new incoming referrals. So look for that change to be coming. And this was based on some user feedback during testing. So again, we will be making the notifications the default tab, and that way you can easily find any of your new incoming referrals or ones that need some action. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and select this person because that's one I just sent. And you can see that when I select them, you know, Leanne, she may have, you know, 5 different referrals or a whole laundry list of them, but you can do some filters to find specific referrals for this person at the individual level. I only have one here for now, and so I can select that referral. Once I open it, then it's going to mark it as received. And then at this point in time, I can update the status. If I wanted to update the status to attempting contact, I can say, you know, I left a message and then hit submit. Then whenever, whatever updates I make here, the person that sent the referral will also be able to see, you know, the status, and they'll be able to, you know, either edit, add comments, and so forth. Down here, you can see the services requested, and you can print this. We do have, you know, so you can see the status changes and so forth. We do have an area for reports, and with the report section, you know, there's various like a referral status report for outgoing versus incoming. referral services. You can see the different types of referral services that are listed. We have a list view with the count of customers versus the count of referrals. And then this is a new one as well, is the different types and like the counts of where they are as far as their status. And then you could select these and then go directly to those referrals. I will say that they are updating this right now. They some of the, if you click on here, some of the links, just the referral counts aren't producing, like the list numbers aren't the same. So that is something that's being worked on right now. And so we will have an update to make that so that your results will be the same, when you select those links. So if it says that there's 1 or 5 when you select it, it'll be accurate. The other areas that we have for the response needed, those are those notifications. We do have a flag. So if it's been past days, received past 10, referrals received past 10 days, and nothing's been happening with them, you would have that number and you would be able to link and go directly to those referrals so that action can be taken. Same thing with attempting contact past 10 days, without change past 30 days. That's what that notifications area will be correspond with those items that are here in this notifications area, response needed. The average days to process, this will just be taking the information that's in the system and calculating that for you over time. There's not links to it. It's just a calculation. The co-enrollment right now gives you numbers. Another update that's they're working on right now is to make this a link. So if you want to see who are all the people that are co-enrolled in some of these areas, then you'll be able to select that link and see those individuals that are co-enrolled. You will notice that we have a note here. This was, we just put some different graphs here whenever we're trying to get feedback on what kind of data would be helpful on this dashboard. And so right now these aren't hooked up to anything, but we would love to get your feedback on what other information that you would like to see in reports that would be helpful. So the ones that are here right now are based on user acceptance testing and feedback that's been provided. But again, if you have other things that we're missing, please let us know what other types of reports would be helpful to you. And then the other one that we are working on that has not gone to UAT yet is the workshop leads. So what we would like you to do is really focus on the customer piece of it right now, this customer tab. And like I said, we'll give an update when these report numbers are accurate. And then once we kind of get started with the customers and doing the referrals for individuals, then our next phase of rollout would be the workshop leads. So I covered a lot of information. Are there any questions that you have?
Tasha, sorry, this is a probably dumb question, but the graphs that you were just showing, the reports and being able to put it into data visualization is great. And you may have said this already. I was trying to follow along. I'm trying to practice like in the site as well. Will we be able to see reports for how do I say it, like for referrals that have come to us so we can track and see who we're getting back to, as well as the referrals Okay, there it was. I
Yep,
thought
yep,
because there were
yep,
different colored ones, and I was like, we can see incoming and outgoing. Okay,
yep,
thank
most
you. I was
definitely.
gonna say I must have taken my eyes off it when you before you would scroll down or back up, and I was like, wait, I think I saw ones that were two different colors. So thank
Yes,
you
most
very much.
definitely. Yep. And so under referral status, we have an incoming and outgoing, and then we have the list view for incoming and outgoing as well.
Oh, that was actually my next question was,
Mhm.
yeah, can we export it somehow? But I guess we don't need to because we have a list view. So
We
okay.
are, yeah, an export is also in the hopper to
Okay,
be
but I mean, if
added
we have
to
a
the.
list view, a way to view
Mhm.
it as a list and not a graph, just to get the actual number. This is for the time being. This is good too. Thanks.
Yeah. And like I said, and even the list view for this as well. Um, and the services, like I said, they're having some, well, this one's okay. But there were some inconsistencies on like some of these numbers that we would click. Well, well, now they're all ones I'm clicking on, of course, are working. Um, but they are, reviewing all that and making some updates so that we ensure that all of the dashboard items that we're doing, like this one,
And you can run this
this
as
one.
a report too, correct? If you just want to run it and break it down into a Excel or something like that.
That's the export that we're working on.
Okay.
Yep,
Now this is
yep.
good. This is good. I like this format here to show everything.
Well, good.
I have a question regarding when you're adding a customer,
Mhm.
for the consent that you have to mark. We use a paper-based needs assessment survey, and on that assessment survey, there is a paragraph that says, I consent to sharing information. Can we then mark the consent as yes, or do we have to, because a lot of times when we make our referrals, we don't have the student sitting right there and with us. Can we
Mm.
use that as yes for that consent on this website?
I mean, I guess let's take a look at the consent. We should probably make sure the consent is written out in the instructions. And if it's not, then we'll make sure we add it as well. But um, I would think that I would just make sure that this this is in line with what your current consent is. And the big thing is that they understand that they can revoke it, the consent,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and yeah, so I mean, I would think if this part right here is part of your existing paper consent and they've signed it, that would say yes.
Okay, thank you.
hmm The reason why we went with the verbal consent is we were trying to keep it, um, you know, as easy as possible, not create barriers, you know what I mean, to be able to do the referrals. So, okay, great questions.
So the question I had is more related to when you're going back to the service finder and you're trying to put in your referral primary contact or your service finder primary secondary contact.
hmm
When going into that system, I'm an administrator and you're trying to add those staff in there. If they're not in that database, it's asking for birth date, zip code, information
hmm
about that person. So when you're talking about the zip code, are you talking about the zip code where they office at or the zip code where they live?
Oh, we usually do office, well, we usually do the office of their, or I'm sorry, the zip code for their office.
Okay, and then because the system won't let you move anywhere without that birth date.
Yes.
Okay, I didn't know why that was I guess I'm thinking
It's
we're
on,
staffing, we're dealing with staff who are contacts, and then we're putting in that personal birth date information into the system.
yeah, the only reason why it's required is because it creates an only worknet account for them. and that's a required field. So if they wanted to do like password recovery, their birth date is like part of it. So, I mean, I
And
guess you could put in a different birth date, but as long as they know and they can update it.
so as I also understand this, then in order to get into this referral system, if they're going to get into it, they're all going to have to create a WorkNet account.
Right.
Okay.
The one thing I forgot to mention is that they don't have to get into we encourage people to obviously get into the system so that they can see their dashboard and reports and all that kind of good stuff. But whenever a referral is sent, then the what was I gonna say? Whenever a referral is sent, an email is sent as well, and they can access that referral form and provide a response via a link that's in that email to them.
Okay. Yeah, that was my other question. I just want to make sure. I'm just saying, I know our staff are dealing with multiple systems already. And I find benefits what you're talking about because I administer our sites and update our sites and all of that. So I find everything you're talking about with the reporting and stuff helpful. I just don't know that our staff in the field are gonna
Right.
see the value to that like I do. I'm just trying to make
Right.
sure we're making it friendly for them to use so they will use it.
You know,
That's
And
one thing I
Natasha,
forgot.
can I just clarify in case folks aren't familiar with it? The link and the email Natasha referred to where they can click the link and engage with the referral, that will not require them to log in to engage with the referral
okay,
that way.
Yeah.
perfect.
If they want all these fancy pages and reports, they'll need the WorkNet account to, I think, get in and do all this, but they can engage with a referral and update status through the email link.
Yes. Thank you for mentioning that. I forgot to say that.
So the other piece though is if they're going to want to enter the client, they have to go into the system.
Yes.
Right? So on the front end, if Joe Smith comes into my office, I'm still going to need to get into that system to generate that referral to go to the other partners. But in order to receive that and get that referral, I don't have to do that.
Correct.
Okay.
And one of the things that came up during UAT as well is like some partners are harder to get responses from than others, maybe. So one of the things that we added here as well is, let's say, you're trying to get a hold of somebody and they're just not responding to the email or getting into the system to respond, but maybe you talk to them on the phone. For your outgoing referrals that you send, there's this respond for provider. So if you talk to them, you could mark this and complete the data for them, if you're talking to them and have that information, you can update it if you just can't get them to do it within the system. All right. Well, we are at 2:00.
I
Are
think
there?
we've answered most questions from the chat, Natasha, as you've been going through. Um, One last thing I do want to say, we can hang around for some additional questions if you guys need, but I know some people have had to jump. We're just super excited for you all to be participating in this. It's a big step into getting this launched. So super excited for your feedback, for you guys to get in and play around with it and provide us, your thoughts. So um a lot of feedback's gone into shaping it, so we're super excited for you guys to start using it as well. And thank you for being willing to test it for this pilot time frame. We know you all have so much work, so we appreciate you making a little bit of time for this.
So our next step on our end is to go into the service finder and make sure that's all set up for our
Yes.
locations, right?
Correct, Joel. Yep. And I'll send that out in a recap email as well.
For anyone that's left, mostly, Kelly and Tasha,
We
but
can't hear you very well, Rory.
I had a question. If I don't think we were initially on the list to test the pilot, but like if another ALEA or partner was going to play around with it and test it to send us our WorkNet Center referral, would we still get it and be able to use it?
Yeah, I mean, you would likely still get it, but um, majority of our partners are going to be practicing kind of sending them with the people that pulled them in for the pilot.
Practicing on each other. Okay.
Hmm. Yeah.
And then a quick question, I just was kind of in the WorkNet system where it says referral system. And it doesn't let us click on anything. If we're in that pilot, are we going to have access to that then?
Yes, that'll open up on this coming Tuesday
Okay,
when it kicks off. Yes,
all right.
you'll be able to get in there. But yeah, biggest focus right now, I'll be sending out those registration links for the office hours. If you guys could get registered for those, especially those participating in the pilot, to be able to ask questions and have that on your calendar. Those aren't required, but we would love to have you. Otherwise, it's just Natasha and I talking to each other. So you guys come join the party. So, and
And
then
then making sure that if we're already in the service finder system, we update those primary referrals. We don't necessarily have to update the service finder part of that. It's the referral tab, correct?
yep, you'll want to make sure that the right primary referral
Yeah.
contacts are updated, yes, because that's what flows over to the referral system. And you'll also want to make sure that you are on that programs tab marked as accepting referrals and
Okay.
the appropriate programs, because that's going to help us track that co-enrollment piece.
Kelly, this is Carla. With it being a one-stop operator, can you go over just real quick how they mark so the one-stop operator also sees the referrals that are happening, since we're supposed to be counting these referrals and making sure?
Yeah, you're like how you would see them from like them sending each other.
When somebody sends a referral, it's supposed to go through the American Job Center through the one-stop operator. So I know we have had this discussion previously on how to set it up to where both it comes to the one-stop operator and the person that it's being referred to. So that way everybody sees it and knows where it's at in the process.
Kelly, we talked about that a little bit, and I don't have my screen to share, but this is where when we're giving the who are the primary contacts in the service finder, this is where we want to make sure we're giving those one-stop operators access to the various organizations that they're serving. So they might have, another primary contact in that office that is kind of handling the referral, but they want to be adding their one-stop operators as well so that they have access to view and send and help with referrals as well. So we had talked about that in that service finder on the contact page, and then that feeds through to the referral system.
Gotcha. Okay, so add their one-stop operator contact to their site in the service finder. Did I understand that right?
Yes.
Okay.
And then just to be sure, the one-stop operator would be the primary referral contact for each of those. Is that correct?
I will defer to Carla for that, but I think it was more a secondary, but just giving them the visibility to send and receive and then go into the reports and access data for those organizations.
Well, I mean, as of right now in our area, all referrals go through me. So if a referral goes from Mantricon to Rebound, then it comes through me. So I'm not sure how that needs to flow to make sure that the one-stop operator, and I assume I'm not the only one in the state that takes the intakes and shucks them out, how that all is going to flow to make sure we're included in every referral that's happening.
So the either with either at the primary or the secondary, you'd be able to see for each of those. But if they select you as the contact, then you're the one that'll get like the automatic email as well. So
Which is fine because then I could forward them on to the agency just like it's happening now, correct?
um, yes.
But would I have to re-enter all the information again? Or is there a way
No.
to just send that on to the next person?
Well,
Um,
I think the information should flow because you'd be able to receive it, close it, send it to the right person.
Okay.
But
or
we
they
can
could
we
just,
can test that to make sure though, Carla.
yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, because I think we just want to see how it comes for reporting. I mean, I would think that they would select whatever organization, and well, I don't know. Yeah, we have to definitely test it. I mean, I was trying to just think
Well,
of
it,
what the
it
numbers would look like.
and my thing is and we do cross training every year, but my thing is to make it clear that it still has to come through the one-stop operator, that it's not a direct, to the other agencies. And that's whether it's you guys making sure that that's conveyed to everybody, I make sure it's conveyed in my area, but just to make sure that that's what happens.
One of the things we had talked about early on, too, was have like a forwarding. And so I think we need to just kind of see like how the reports need to, well, I guess this is a great time just to pilot it. We'll start and figure out the best flow because I just want to make sure we get it right for reporting for you as well.
So
How that works.
for every other area that's currently not having it go through the one-stop operator, we should continue to do what we're doing and get those referrals directly as an agency.
Yes.
Right now it's set up, yeah, that would just go directly to the agency.
Okay.
Okay, well, are there any other questions in the chat we need to look at? Let's see here. Okay. Oh, here, my email, if anyone still needs it, is kellytrimble@siu.edu, but I'll put it in the chat. Okay. Well, I know we've gone over time. We've overstayed our welcome a little bit on you guys. So thank you guys so much for being here. Again, we're so excited to kick this off with you and get your feedback from, real life situation here so that we can continue to develop this tool and make sure that it's the right fit for everyone. So do not hesitate to reach out. Like I said, if you guys need anything, we're here to support, especially as we get this kicked off and your um feedback is super, super important. So thank you guys. Have a good day.